I spent 7 weeks in India with the celebrant singers. You can imagine in a country so foreign to what I was used to, especially growing up in Montana. Lots of interesting experiences and stories come to mind. And I do remember especially the first taxi ride. We got out of the airport. We got into a taxi after we loaded up all of our equipment onto a truck. And I mean, the streets are just jammed with people on bikes, people walking, people on motorcycles. There's livestock in the road, trucks and buses, all just belching out smoke and making lots of noise, lots of color and sound. It seems very chaotic. And the taxi driver, that very first taxi driver, said, "First time to India?" And he said, "Well, I want you to know that should we hit somebody, we're not stopping." And immediately I was like, "What? You run over somebody? You're not going to stop?" "Why?" And he said, "Well, you're a foreigner here, so if we hit somebody, they're going to blame you. And in fact, they'll probably mob the taxi, they'll pull you out and beat you, maybe to death." We said, "Okay, we're good with that. You don't have to stop." We experienced many forms of transportation, but after being there for quite a while, one that we had not tried was a hand-drawn rickshaw, and primarily because we were conflicted. We had been told that once a Indian man became a rickshaw puller or horse or driver, whatever you call it, their lifespan was shortened significantly, and many of them died in their 30s. And we thought that sounded horrific, but as it turned out, that was their livelihood. And if they didn't get that job, they may have starved to death, or their family would have anyway. So it was really a no-win situation for them. So our internal conflict was, we really wanted to ride the rickshaw, but we certainly didn't want to be part of some poor driver's demise, especially considering our size as Americans compared to the Indian people. However, if we did ride, we would be contributing to their income, which is something they badly needed. So we finally came up with a plan, and we contracted with a man, an Indian man who pulled a hand-drawn rickshaw. We asked him, "Okay, we want a ride, but we only want you to pull us maybe 100 yards and then stop." He's like, "Why only that far?" We said, "We just want the experience." And you could tell by the look on his face that this wasn't going to be worth his while. But what we did was, after he dropped us off, we pulled out our wallets and we way overpaid him, like 100 times what he normally would have gotten for that ride. So we got our experience, and we contributed to his livelihood and helped him put food on the table for his family. So I guess made the best out of this situation. So Mother Teresa was still alive, and it just so happened that just prior to my birthday that year, we were in Calcutta and had a visit scheduled to her home convent. I'm not sure that's even what it was called, but for the Sisters of Charity in Calcutta. And she was there, which wasn't always the case because she traveled quite a bit. My friends and I we lined up on the second floor, and all of the sisters there that day gathered down on the ground level, and we sang some of our songs from the balcony down to them. And afterwards, we got to spend some time with Mother Teresa herself. She invited us into her office, as it were, which was, again, very humble, as you can imagine. And she was dressed in the typical Sisters of Charity garb and had no shoes or socks on. And so she sat down, and we sat down with her, and she shared some amazing wisdom with us. But all I could focus on was her feet, because her feet were small, but they were gnarly. Her feet had millions of miles on them, and I could only imagine what they had seen, where they had been. And I was so struck by her humility and stature, considering she was a world changer.